If you've ever asked yourself, why am I so anxious all the time? You might think it's because anxiety is the problem, but it's not. The real problem is how your brain interprets the anxiety once it shows up. If you feel like your mind is constantly planning or scanning for danger, that experience is so common. Just think about how anxiety rates are skyrocketing in today's day. And the thing is, once you understand what your nervous system is trying to do, the pattern can change so much easier. Hi, welcome to the Self-Worth channel. My name is Callie, and today we're talking about anxiety in a way that I really do hope becomes more mainstream, and I hope that it is digestible for you to be able to take away today. So a lot of advice focuses on trying to eliminate or silence anxiety completely, and that is not what works in my experience. In my experience and in the work that I teach, the more helpful place is actually starting to understand where your anxiety comes from and what it means in your system. So for a really long time, I believed that my own anxiety was meaning that something was wrong with me. I thought that I was the one with the problem because I couldn't get rid of my anxiety. I felt anxious, and so when I felt anxious, I assumed I needed to fix it or eliminate it altogether. I just needed to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So what I would do is I would start overanalyzing things. I would start planning everything in advance. And I really just tried to control all of my situations so that nothing could really go wrong and ignite my anxiety. And on the surface, that looked like being really organized and in control. But underneath that, my nervous system was actually just attempting to create safety by my circumstances, which is not a really favorable way to live because we can't control all our circumstances. And the problem is when we have this anxiety, when something feels uncertain, we just start scanning automatically. Like, what could go wrong? What did I miss? How do I prevent a bad outcome from happening? This is all fear of something. And without realizing it, all of a sudden, anxiety turns into this pattern that repeats in different areas of our life. And this is the part that most people really just misunderstand, is that anxiety itself is not the actual problem. The experience of anxiety is not the problem. The issue here is that we are not noticing anxiety as simply a signal, a message to us. And so if your brain interprets anxiety as danger, what's going to happen is it's going to immediately start trying to control everything. It's going to try and protect you from everything around you. And this could start conflict. This could really create lots of walls in your environment. And that creates a loop. A feeling shows up, the brain interprets it as danger, and we do everything we can in our fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop response to try to control or try to have a safe outcome. And every time the loop repeats, the pattern gets stronger. If you can relate to this, comment below. You are not alone. This is what an anxiety loop looks like. This is what so many of us experience, even daily. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so this is why advice like just calm down or just relax, it doesn't work. It actually makes things worse because what you're doing as an outsider is you're telling my anxiety, just go away. But the anxiety is trying to send you a message. So that's why it makes things worse to try and kick it out or say, I'm just relax or just calm down. And without doing the step that I'm about to show you, what happens is even things like meditation, visualization, they can fail and they can prove to be really ineffective in calming our anxiety for an extended period of time. That's because your nervous system is not trying to make your life harder. It's trying to help you. It's trying to help you. So if the system believes that anxiety means that something is wrong, then what's gonna happen is we're gonna keep trying to fix something and by controlling our environment, which is why so many people that are anxious end up becoming really good planners, organizers, problem solvers. And a really simple example for me is traveling with my family. So when we're getting ready for a trip, I start making lists, I start organizing everything, I start figuring out all of my supplements, making sure everything is really detailed. And that part itself, that's not a problem, right? That's actually really helpful. But the pattern shows up when my partner tries to help me. And he tries to ask, where can I help? I immediately say no, or I take a task back because I'm worried that it won't be done the way that I want it to be done. Or if I let him do a task, I find a way for me to be able to blame him for doing it wrong. And this is me trying to feel safety and control. But that creates stress for me, tension for the whole family. Not helpful. So what we do here is when I experience this level of control, this anxiety, what if something goes wrong? What we're gonna do is change the interpretation of the experience. So this is actually the first step that I use in my system to help retrain all my patterns. And I do this every day. And it starts by changing the definition of the experience that we're having in the body and mind. Because the meaning we give an experience determines the pattern that follows. That's very important. Once we shift the meaning behind the experience, all of a sudden we can start working with the nervous system in a really effective way. We start gaining internal control back. And that's all we need. We don't need external control. And the first step is what I call a pattern interrupt. This is what I do daily. When I notice anxiety show up, when I notice this feeling pop up, I pause for a moment. I've trained myself, take a slow breath, place a hand on my heart, even if I've already reacted, because we are all human. Even something like humming or visualizing in the mind a really calming place. This is part of that pause and pivot that I talked about in my last video. It's really just creating internal awareness. And then the second piece that we do that follows this, that after we tell ourselves we're not in immediate danger, we shift into observation. I am noticing my body is feeling anxious right now. Okay, that's all you need to know. So then we move on. Now, this is how we actually make progress. This is how we start to go and gain control of our anxiety-based experience. Instead of subconsciously telling yourself something is wrong or I'm in danger, what we're going to do is we are going to stop saying we need to fix this feeling. And the reason we're going to stop doing that is because that really accelerates the behavior that we are not proud of. And because we've gained some level of awareness of our experience, it will give us that open door to be able to make the choice to shift the meaning of our anxious experience. So we're going to change the meaning from I need to fix this to, okay, my nervous system is looking for safety right now. And I'm learning how to create that. Now, I don't even need to really explain this because you can probably feel that small shift. It totally changes how the brain responds. So instead of just automatically becoming overwhelmed with this fear pattern, what it's gonna do is gonna start searching for a new way to regulate, even if it's a little bit at a time. Nothing works unless we can change the relationship to the experience that we're having. And when that meaning changes, the pattern changes too. And so the goal ultimately isn't to eliminate anxiety completely. We can't ever do that. The goal is to stop treating anxiety like it's the enemy, like it's against you, because it's working with you. So instead of fear or shame, the nervous system can start to gradually move towards safety. It can move towards problem solving. It learns it doesn't have to respond in that way anymore. And that is how the real pattern starts to change. Now, if this resonates with you, you are definitely not alone. These patterns are so common and they are absolutely changeable. In my free guide in my bio, I give you few exercises that you can start using right away in addition to this reinterpretation tool. And if you want more conversations about this, about self-worth, nervous system rebalancing, breaking old patterns, please, please, please subscribe below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.